Open, I'd like to Bruce has been just an absolute dear friend to me in every way, with advice or help or support. And he lost his father yesterday, so our prayers are with he and his family as they deal with that. And also Zay Walker's grandmother passed away yesterday to a heart attack, and that was. I know what it's like to lose a grandmother that was in your home and raised you, and so he's dealing with that also. And so our hearts and prayers go out to both of those families as they're dealing with loss. Fan Day last Saturday, I thought was incredible. I don't know the numbers or anything, but for people to stand in that immense heat to get in to see our players and staff, I thought was incredible. And hopefully nobody left, or not too many people left feeling disappointed in any way for the Lions getting cut off. But that was a great testimony to the Auburn family for sure. Gardner Langlow, I think it's already been reported, has decided to hang up football. And I think that's it. So I'll open it up for questions.
Go on the back row.
Coach, there's been reports today that you were going to announce the starting quarterback today. Payton Thorne.
Yeah, I was going to. You guys seem to know everything before it happens, so I don't. That's interesting to me because only 4 people knew that, and I didn't even tell the staff. So it's interesting to how everything works today. But it's just a different day and time. But yeah, I've decided to start Payton Thorne, and let me say this first. I totally believe that Robbie and Holden, we can win games with any of the 3. A lot of that would depend upon how we play defensively and how the supporting cast play. I believe in all 3 of those guys, and there are days that there's been very little separation. I just believe, my gut is usually right, and usually when I follow my gut, and I'm not saying my gut is right that Payton is the guy for all 12 games, but my gut is saying it's the time to do this, to get us best prepared for the opening of the season. I'm hoping that all 3 will handle that news extremely well and to continue to work, because I believe with all my heart Robbie Ashford gives us an absolute better chance to win the game if he accepts this news and continues to work and develops himself, because he might be the most freakish athlete I've ever had at quarterback. But to this point, I think the separation, the reason Payton is getting the nod is just the leadership ability and understanding of the offense, and he's been in some really good battles, and just seems like he was more efficient in the decision making to this point. Not that the others were terrible by any means. It was not just a slam dunk, and so I hope that everyone will handle it right. This is happening in a lot of places. NFL, here, you compete and you continue to compete. And trust me, once someone gets that job, they got to hold on to it. And hopefully the others continue to work every day to press to make me feel like I need to second guess that. That's the hope.
Second row to the left.
You didn't seem too thrilled with receivers on Saturday. How they done this week?
Well, it was about 88 loafs on Saturday. That's an exaggeration, but there were a lot. They had a really good week last week, and they've had a better week this week. We had our best practice. I lose track of days. Today is Thursday. We had our best practice Tuesday night, and I think they're improving. Still way too many MAs, or when I say MAs, the route is truncated. If it's supposed to be at 12, there is at 10, and we've got to get all of that cleaned up, and we got 2 weeks to do that. But they've had a solid week. They did not have a good scrimmage. And truthfully, I didn't think when I watched the film after the scrimmage, I thought it made me sick. I didn't think we competed, and it was almost like we just melted under that heat. And we had, we've handled the heat pretty well. It's been maybe the hottest camp I've experienced, but of course, when you're here, you get to take a break inside, and we cool them down with all the water mist and all of that. You go over there for that game, there's none of that going on that day, and I just didn't think we handled it extremely well. I'm excited for another opportunity this Saturday to see how we handle it, but they've bounced back pretty good this week. Camden Brown finally practiced yesterday and looked decent, so hopefully that adds some more depth to that room.
Hugh, when it comes to choosing a starting quarterback, and every head coach has been through it, and obviously it's a different situation than another position. How hard is it for you to deliver that news and
Yeah, it's not easy.
Try to make them understand that it's not the end of the world?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's because it is different. One guy's going to get primarily most of the snaps, and so that's not easy because you've watched those other two kids, compete hard for it and train all summer and work for this moment. But you know what? That's life, and everybody doesn't always get the prize that they want, but how you respond to that's going to really determine more about you and probably pay more dividends for you longer term in life and in football. If you just you accept it, don't like it, but go back to work, and let's see what happens. Listen, last year at Liberty, I played 4 quarterbacks because of injuries. We lost our starter the first series of the first game to a broken hand. You put another one in there, he gets hurt, you're down to number 3, and there was one game I had to play number 4. And so you never know when your time's coming and what you're going to do with it when it comes. And if you make the most of that, you might not ever see the bench again. And so I want to say this about Robbie. He will always have a package. If he handles all of this the right way, he will always have a package because he adds an element to us that's a little different.
Second row.
Coach, after the scrimmage on Saturday, you talked about you felt you had made up your mind and had to kind of rethink it after the scrimmage. So what was the process of going from that point when you may have had 2 or 3 quarterbacks on your mind to narrowing down?
Well, no, I really felt like it was Payton going into that scrimmage, and then in the scrimmage I thought he pressed too much, and I didn't like that. And I can't have a guy that, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm at this point is I want to see what he does now. All right, I'm the guy, and I go back to relaxing and playing within the system. That was all that. And Robbie had a really good Saturday, comparatively.
Stand left side.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask about, obviously, we can break the news that Payton's going to be the starting quarterback. There's a level of disappointment with the other guys. Do you anticipate all the quarterbacks in that room remaining in the season? And if not, if they want to transfer, you're going to try to convince them otherwise?
What a world. What a world. I don't know. What do you think I should do? All right, yeah, we'll just try to make them all happy. Every man's got to do what he thinks is right for himself. This idea that just because you got some difficult news that you should consider bolting on your team and all of that ain't the world I come from. That ain't what that's not how I was raised with a team, and so I sure hope that that's not the case. I haven't heard any of that, and so hope that's not the case. Hope they'll go to work and compete.
You don't have any 3 quarterback packages?
We might. We'll get them all ready.
We're going to go to the right, front row.
You and a lot of other people on the staff have talked a lot this fall about what you said, Payton Thorne absorbing the offense and kind of having a good understanding of it. How have you seen that evolve maybe from day 1 of camp to where you are now, where you're comfortable with naming the starter?
Well, that's the guy's in here all the time. I mean, I can't get rid of him, and he wants to know the ins and outs of everything that I'm thinking or Philip's thinking, on every aspect of our passing game, our run game, and he's just he's a pro at knowing how to prepare, and that gives you a comfort level that you just know. You know, you feel like he's going to have the right mindset and have the understanding of the game plan for sure, and hopefully the others will also, but pretty confident he is by the way he approaches every day.
Stay on the right in front.
Where did you see Holden really kind of grow in this battle and get this experience to compete?
Holden's the most natural passer of all of them, truthfully, in my opinion. Still absorbing. There's a lot of times he's not made the right decision, maybe in the RPO game or in his reads or getting the protection set the right way. But he's just a young kid, but he's got a bright future. There's no doubt in my mind.
Did you have a Ryan in front row? And Bill.
Yes, you've actually quarterbacks, wide receivers. Have any of those guys stepped up enough to where you feel comfortable with them being in rotation?
Yeah, I feel good about Jay and VAR. I feel good about Shane and Amari and gosh, I'm gonna forget somebody. Camden's been hurt, so it's really, yesterday was really his first practice since I've been here, so it's really hard for me to get an accurate evaluation there. Shorter will be in the rotation to give us some bigger bodies. Nick, I'd say outside right now, if you had to say, those four big guys are probably in the rotation along with those slot guys, and Caleb Burton in the slot also, those three guys, but that's the ones that's gotten most of the reps. Malcolm's been hurt, and so has Coy, and so has Camden, and so it's but those guys are going to have to be in the rotation for sure.
Stay there on the left side, second row.
With the quarterback position pretty much settled, at least going into the scrimmage, what other positions are up for grabs? What are the competitions that you're looking at this Saturday?
Yeah, well, the quarterback situation is set going into UMass unless something happens. It's set. It's done. And he'll get all the reps with the ones, and Robbie will get most of the reps with the twos. Holden will get his share some, but I feel like that's where we are, and that's not going to change unless injuries or something happen. I don't see the other positions as battles. There is no first team, second team in my mind. We need 2 and 3 deep at every one of those, and so I guess if you had to say there's battles, it's who's going to be on that 70-man travel squad, or that 75 if you go on the road to a non-conference or whatever it is. There's probably some of those, but you're trying to get those 2 deep secondary and those 3 deep D-line and those 2 deep linebackers and those 2 deep O-line. You're trying to get every one of them ready. I don't see it as a battle. And yeah, all right, somebody plays well and we roll him out there the first huddle. That's great. He had the better week of practice, but come Series 3, the other guy's going to be out there too. So I just don't see it as, hey, y'all are competing to see who plays and who doesn't. We got to get them all ready.
Raise your hand if you have a question. Stay over there. On the left.
You've had multiple media viewing opportunities this preseason. What's your theory on that? What's your thought process on how it's evolved over the years?
Say that one more time.
Like media viewing.
Viewing practice?
Right.
Well, I'm going to cut all of you off if you post videos of our team again. Whoever that was, I don't know who it was, don't care, and I'm not mad at you, but no videos. Maybe that's just crazy. Y'all can do pictures and stuff, but man, just don't shoot videos. I was going to actually tell y'all can stay a little longer today if you want to. Just no videos, and maybe we're just all paranoid as coaches too much. But when the season starts, it will be quite different. I just think there's too much going on and you guys are so aggressive with having your stories out there, and man, I can appreciate that. I can. You're into what you do, and you want to be good at it, and I get that. So there's a fine line for me of how do I balance the respect I have for the job you guys do and protecting our kids and our team the most we can. I don't know where that line is. I told Kirk the other day, I think every week could be a little different for what we see media's availability to be and all of that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but.
You go to the right side, third.
I think we've all seen the recent news with the Michael Moore situation, obviously, like your connections to it.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to either the Tuies or
Yeah.
Michael?
Yeah, listen, I love Michael Orr. He's like part of our family, and I love the Tuies, and I think it's sad, and I certainly don't claim to understand all the ins and outs of adoption, conservatory, all of that, but I know what I witnessed, and I witnessed a family that totally took in a young man, and I think without that, there is no story, and I sure hope it can. I know this: if Michael called Sean right now and said, "Let's work this thing out," Sean and Leanne would be there in a hurry to hug his neck and tell him he's loved, and I hope he feels that, and certainly I don't claim to. Till you walk in people's shoes, I don't claim to have all the answers to anything, but I think it will all, whatever happens will happen, of course, and I think the facts will come out, but I love both sides of it, and Sean and Leanne Tui did something that probably most families, a lot of us talk about doing things, they actually put the shoes on and pulled the boots up and got in the arena and did something, and I think that's admirable.
Front row, on the right.
Hugh, you mentioned putting together packages for Robbie. Do you have experience in your career with that
First
kind of
year
thing?
at Ole Miss, Bo Wallace was the starter. Barry Brunetti was a dude that added a lot to us. And so, I did that there. Arkansas State, my first year, had a similar deal. It was different but similar. I mean, Ryan Applin was definitely our quarterback. We had another young man that was more of a power guy that I used for short yardage situations. Robbie's certainly like that. I mean, Robbie's not just a runner; he's a dynamic runner. But he can throw certain things. He throws better, and hopefully his consistency in that will continue to improve to where if whatever package it is in, they have to respect the pass off of it also.
Front left, Phil.
You talked about the heat being an issue in the scrimmage last Saturday. In 2 weeks, you play at 2:30 in the afternoon. How do you prepare for that?
Well, that's a whole different deal. You're only playing 11 of your guys at one time, and the others over under the fans and being cool. And hopefully we have a few 8-9 play drives where the defense is resting, and so I think that's totally different. And obviously we'll have 80 people that are able to play or so that game, and you're able to rotate bodies instead of just putting 22 years out there constantly and then the next 22. And so I think that's totally different. We'll be prepared for that. I don't have any worries about that. I hope it's hot, actually, that day. I hope it's real hot, except for the fans. I don't want the fans, but it'd be fine for me if it's hot that day.
Left back.
Auburn's had some good receivers over the years. I don't think they've had like a dynamic stud receiver in a long time. What in your mind goes into putting into having a receiver that can go up and change football games as a playmaker?
Yeah, we desperately have got to get to that point. I mean, I don't know when the last time Auburn had a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't, and it's been over a decade, I would think, and that's shocking to me. And I've had very few years where I didn't have one that was at least close to 1,000, if not over 1,000. You know, even at Liberty the last 2 years, we had Antonio Gandy Golden who went over, and then Demario Douglas, who, by the way, is killing it with the Patriots right now. And I hope every recruit that I'm recruiting for receiver is listening to me. We've got to change that here, and you got to change it through recruiting. And those receivers are a priority for us that are coming into the 24 and 25 class.
Anything else from Coach? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Hugh.
Thanks, guys.